We shall start.
I invite Alec Claude, who's representing Alec Claude Architectural Bureau. I invite Haya Al Kadaji, Architectural Bureau or Design, Dubai. And we'll have another colleague, Asya Bachmar, Architectural Bureau Balkor. She will be connected online. Now we will talk about modern approaches to interiors for common spaces in residential buildings, for villas and for houses. It's gonna be interesting. Alec, I give you the floor. Please put up Alec's presentation. Good day, everyone. My name is Alec Claude. I wanted to tell you what we've been doing in the recent years. My bureau is 24 years old, and in the first 18 years, we were doing exclusively some private projects, and we were honing our skills on private projects. And only in 2018, we received the first development project. Polyanka 44, PSN Group was the developer. Before that, I was always wondering why all the projects that I heard about are implemented by foreign bureaus, and famous Russian designers are not addressed. And it was actually the year when something changed, and this U-turn started. PSN Group, who came to my agency with this project, was thinking the following way. Architecture was done by the British company, interiors were done by the British company, but when it came to implementation and some work designs, they had problems. So they decided to find a decent agency which will help them. This is a complex of several buildings, one historical and several modern buildings. And I had to make interiors for one of the modern buildings in this complex, and we had to finish it. Then during the project, they asked us to change the design which was proposed by British company. Now, entrance zones. We actually did something, change in the architectural designs. For example, this part of the door. So it was our first experience. Luckily, it was a successful one. And what's important for me, from the very beginning, I started comparing the processes of working in private projects and working with big developers. And I thought that when you work with developers, there are much more formal processes. There is not so much creative opportunities for me personally. Because at that time, in 2018, developers didn't have such big competition on the market. Secondly, in many projects later on, we also faced the situation when you are working with an average consumer. So the goal was to create design which would be suitable for some kind of an average consumer or resident. So you just do something average. You just go from the entrance to the flat. There shouldn't be some embarrassing moments. The interior should look okay, should look nice. Nothing should be disturbing there, because we are working for the average person. But since then, we've already implemented very many projects More than 10 of them are already finished, and we have more than 20 projects in the pipeline right now. And we see that the landscape is changing. The psychology of developers is changing because of the competition, I feel, and also because consumers, they want something extra. They are not so modest as before. You see some examples on the slides. So we were working with the concept of live interiors, which would be used in designing lobbies. So such cozy feelings. We are creating libraries in lobbies because we want the atmosphere of the lobby to be more pleasant. We wanted people to feel homey in the lobbies of their big houses. And now I move on to the next project. This is the complex which is not finished yet. That's the complex that's going to be built here in Kazan, Savin Premier. Right now we see that there is the following need. All the materials, all the feelings are not supposed to be just something average and cold. People need to feel association with nature, with sea, with wind, with elements. And we have more and more greenery embedded into the interiors. You need to have some reflection of what's around the building. So that's much more comprehensive approach, not just a formalistic approach to what's beautiful. And I can say about the future, it feels that later on people, even if we're just talking about design, people will want designs and interiors to be interactive. They want the image in front of their eyes to be changing because competition is super high and people are choosing not only just the basic things, location, or some main aesthetical ideas. They need interactive factors, changes, dynamics. Because the time is getting more dynamic, we are moving faster, and I feel that interiors will also follow suit. This complex that's going to be built here in Kazan, yeah, of course, when we design, we use architecture as the basis. That's inspiration for us. We think about all the ergonomics, how people are gonna move, how they take their dog for a walk, what's their path to the garbage bins. We are thinking about all the infrastructure around the house, and we need to understand what should be there, what kind of infrastructure should be there, which will influence the choice of a certain complex. And this complex, yes, that's not Moscow, that's not the center of the capital, but still you have lots of elements here, and they can just wear their slippers only and get access to different types of amenities. Everything is accessible. Negotiation rooms, printing, meeting with friends, gym, just basically everything. This is the club approach. This club is operating as a hotel. In many films in the 20th century, people prefer to live in a hotel where it's just convenient for them. All the services there, and they don't need to go out of their hotel. When the competition is high, as it is right now, we are living at this stage when we want to offer people the maximum amount of amenities, services. And design is not as formal as before. If you are talking about the use of materials, if you are talking about the connection with the landscape. So projects are much more universal. Yeah, there are different companies who are responsible for the project. Architects first, then design. That's our company. We're thinking about the logics of all the public spaces. And then landscape designers, they take the next step. But when we are all are living in a symbiosis, then we get the product as we get it. We like embedding libraries into the lobby design, which creates the atmosphere of coziness, of homeliness. This is the gym. Next project that I wanted to share with you. This is a project in St. Petersburg. It's called MIR. RBI is the developer. And why was I happy to work with this project? I would say that's next step of development, as I see it. And the feeling from the development projects. 5, 6 years ago, when I was talking with developers about art in interiors, it was actually always the last idea that they took into account. It was something very formalistic. Okay, there should be art which doesn't annoy you, but it's just something additional. It's just an additional element. But right now, in the majority of our projects, we managed to make sure that from the first meeting with the developer, we speak about art concepts. So developers are now at this stage that they believe that the art concept is a very big part of the project. It's important for marketing, for sales, for naming of the whole complex. And in almost all the projects that we are working on, art is not something formal. For example, this project. We understand the developer agreed with us that art matters. As a result, we were making the space very lightweight. This is a different approach to the interior design. For example, we used works of famous artists and sculptors. Andrei Remnev was just a very famous artist that works around the world. He's famous around the world. He combines different traditions, Russian icon painting traditions and 18th, 19th century portrait in Russia traditions and constructivism. And all of this creates special atmosphere. And developers understand that they can use it for more successful sales, and the art is important for people. All the movement axes, all the corners in this building, that's something that creates a special feeling of the modern art museum, I would say, to a certain extent. Next project. We work with MR Group. This is something very different. It's a center of Moscow, Paveletskaya city. That's a complex of very tall, high-rise buildings, skyscrapers. They came to us when they didn't have the naming concept. They didn't know how they're going to sell their complex. And we worked together with them, with their team, and we created this idea. Since these towers, tall buildings in architecture, they look like American skyscrapers, which were built 100 years ago. And lobbies were already designed with high ceilings. And that's how we decided to follow with our work. All the towers have names of famous actors and actresses. Grace, Marlon, and so on. And when we understand that one of the towers is named after Frank Sinatra, it gives us a certain feeling. It gives us the direction for creating the design, the decoration. And you see the scale of all the details here. This is like the feeling of American design that dates back to 100 years ago. But the scale of all the elements, of all the details, it should conjure memories of those times in America. Again, we have the library here, and it also creates some memories about those times. The height of ceiling is 4.5 meters, and that's amazing. And each detail, it was easy actually working with art here because we used lots of photographs that are photographs of certain actors and or actresses. So this is actually the tower named after a male actor. This is Tower Charlie, named after Charlie Chaplin. So this looks like his makeup room, I would say. This is Grace Tower, different tones, different colors. And this is the Merlin Tower. We use these lips as part of the design. And I'm sure that if you understand that you live in such a tower, which is a universal art object, that's going to be important for them. So here I wanted to create the feeling of the New York train station so that you could understand what kind of times we want you to remember when you enter. Another project, Maison Rouge, also by MR Group. That's again a different story. That's a club type of house. A lobby was not very spacious. But we wanted to create the feeling of coziness. We wanted to use art pieces a lot. We have a library again. We have a place where you could go down to the lobby and print out some papers. You can meet friends or colleagues. Even in this small lobby, you have a wall. From the first photo, a wall with the fireplace. It divides two zones. Behind is the zone where you pass when you leave the lift. So when you leave the city, which is moving with very high speed, then you open the entrance door and you feel calmer. Before they enter their flat door, they will already get much calmer and turn into the good psychological condition. This was our goal in this project. And here you see all the necessary elements. So that's it. And 6 years have passed, and a lot has changed. We've done a lot of projects, and developers have changed. I would say it's absolutely unique journey for them, and for us, it's now much more interesting to work with them. In the beginning, the share of such type of development projects was 90 to 10. 10, the number of development projects, 10%. But right now we have much more development projects, and we really work with them with great of passion and enthusiasm. Oleg, thank you very much. We move on to the next presentation, and we are going to talk about changing approach, changing with regards to private housing. Dubai, Emirates, Qatar, and we will see how the perception changes. First of all, I show some video.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am engineer Hayat, the founder of UR Designs Group. We're actually an Emirates company based in Dubai, and we have another offices in Abu Dhabi and in Iraq, Baghdad, and recently we will open an office in Qatar as well. So can I just have please, the remote? Yeah. So first of all, I would like to thank my colleague, engineer Oleg, for his wonderful presentation. I'm very happy to participate in Kazan Forum. This is actually my second year. You know, it's very important for us to participate and get to know other companies, what they are doing, and especially in Russia. Because since Dubai, it's an international city, and we have lots of different individual users or end customers. So we are working with multinationalities. Each nationality, or let's say each customer, they have their own design style. And in the UAE in general, or let's say in the Gulf countries, the residential projects are a little bit different than what you have in Russia or Europe, because we like two series project, like ground floor, first floor, second floor. They don't usually prefer to live in penthouse or high-rise buildings, or let's say towers. So today I am encouraging the Russian students or Tatari students to explore the services that we do in the Gulf countries or the way we design. And since in UAE, in the Emirates, and especially in Dubai, we have lots of Russian clients and also clients from Tatar, that I myself am designing their houses. And it's a very wonderful experience to see the taste and the design. And from their side as well, they were very happy from us to hear from us the new style that we are providing them. So we will start with the first project. So this is a mansion project in Dubai. It is two series, ground floor, first floor, and roof floor, and we have a guest house. So I'm presenting to you the, okay, does it have a laser? Sorry, does it have a laser working or no? It's fine, it's okay. So in this project, I am sharing with you the layouts of how we start the project. So see, it's very important when you design, and especially when you are designing for an end user or a person in general, not a company or a developer, you need to understand their requirements and their style. And especially now, as I mentioned, since Dubai is a diversity city, we changed the design to completely modern. And modern, I mean by luxury modern, ultra modern, industrial modern. So in this villa, we have decided to design it as luxury modern. Here actually also one of the villas that we are designing for a Russian client in Dubai. It's in Palm Jumeirah. So from the presentation of architect Oleg, I have really now came to understand that Russians, they like the minimalist design, white colors for the walls. They like to focus only on accessories and flooring, contrast in the color of flooring. But you guys like minimalist design. This is a luxury entrance for a modern villa in Saudi Arabia, actually in Riyadh city. So the concept of this villa is the client, he wanted to have a luxury mansion, and he wanted to have a super luxury entrance where he has a dark black Marquina marble stair area. He wanted to have a multiple flooring design on the floor, having actually the olive tree in the center, because they believe olive can give a positive energy. This is also a reception area for a guest house, or let's say a guest entrance, because in the GCC country we separate the guests from the main entrance of the house. This is a Palm Jumeirah villa, as I mentioned, to one of our Russian clients, and he wanted us to focus on the exterior architecture, and he wanted us to use rich materials for the cladding, and that we have combined for him the beige travertine and cappuccino travertine color. This is the backside view with the division of the entrance area, garage, living area, and the view, if you can see the living area and the dining, they are overseeing the seaside or the sea view from Bam Jumeirah. Okay, so this is my luxury bedroom or master bedroom design. So in the GCC in general, the bedroom is one of the very, very important areas that we need to focus on the design, because they feel that this area is their precious space where they live in it. So here we focused on to use rich material like black martina with the CNC finish and some acrylic decorative designs. Here is another project in Sharjah, in the city of Sharjah, for one of the Emiratis clients. And why I am displaying to you this project is that because I wanted to show you that even local end users, they started to change their style completely from classic to modern as well. Showing you here the site view. This is also some modern bedroom design and wardrobes. So wardrobes is a precious area as well when we design, because as you know, right now, mostly everyone with the social media, especially female ladies, they started to take care of wardrobes, showcasing their clothes, their bags, their high heels. So when we started to plan any project, we take care of and make sure that dressing room or wardrobe area is huge, massive, and that we are giving a huge space for the end user to make her dream come true. Okay, so now there is a new trend we are using in architecture, especially for residential homes, which is modern Japanese, as you can see in front of us. So again, as I mentioned, since in UAE we have international residents, so lots of clients started to request the Japanese modern architecture. And as you can see here in one of the project, in this project we have used multiple materials for the cladding: travertine, natural stone, aluminium finish elements, and glazing for the windows. And here also a simple modern, this is what you can see. This is a project that we have done for one of the developers in Dubai, and that this design of the villa is what it was implemented for 400 villas in the area of Jabal Ali, near the expo area. And this is the plan. So they consider this project as a townhouse. As you can see, it's just ground and first. The challenge in this project, it was we had to give a nice special modern architecture with a small space of designing. Now we'll start talking about the master bathrooms. So as you can see here in the master bathrooms, when we are designing, and now the trend and everybody to utilize the space perfectly, they started to go into shower areas. But for end users, they prefer to have shower area and bathtub at the same time. So when we are having the meeting before designing the project with the clients, they say, I want my bathroom to have the hotel style bathroom. I want to feel like I am traveling. I want to feel like I am a resort for me. So in that idea, we have started to design a special division for the bathroom where you can have your bathtub and your shower area and the WC separated, and that to give a feeling of you are really in a hotel or resort. And I remember I had, before I come to Kazan, I had one of the clients who made me really laugh, is that he told me, I want my bathroom to be in the roof floor, the end. And I wanted to be an outdoor bathroom. I told him, we are in the residential complex. How can I do that for you? And he said, I want to feel I am in Maldives. I don't want to feel I am in the UAE. Make for me a bathroom in Maldives. So this is our job, making the client dreams come true. Okay, so, and before I finish my presentation, the purpose actually of our company, of our group of company participating in Kazan International Forum, is that we are encouraging Russian students to do an internship with GCC companies in the Emirates or in Qatar or in Saudi Arabia to get to know the difference between the architecture in our countries and in the architecture design and interior design in Russia. And trust me, that will benefit you. Thank you so much. We will just have one last video to show.
Thank you very much, Aya. И сейчас у нас еще один speaker.
So now we have another speaker, the representative of Architectural Bureau La Fond, and she will share her experience of common areas that they built in residential complexes.
Одну секундочку, мы ее подключаем онлайн.
We are going to have her online, so I hope everything will be fine. Hello, good afternoon. I'm glad to see you. Sorry that I couldn't be there, so I'm joining you online, but I'd love to welcome you all. And I'll be happy to share my experience. I'm going to share my screen to show you my presentation. And please stay with us after your presentation because we are going to have a discussion. Can you see my presentation? So I would like to tell you about our design studio. We focus on premium designs. We've been at the market for over 10 years. So we have over 100 staff members, about 500 projects that have been implemented all over the world. And you can see some photos of our lovely office. I'm actually in the headquarters, our main office. You can't see all the awards that we have received, but I can tell you that we received quite many awards. Sorry, but we don't have your presentation on screen. Let us try to do it again. Wait a second. I'm asking our technical support staff to put it on screen. You should open your presentation once again. Just a second. Sorry for these technical interruptions. You know, it looked good while we were testing, but sometimes it happens. So I'm trying to do it again. I'll try to share my screen. Let me do it. I think it will work fine. Just a second. I hope you can see it now. Can you see it now? Yes, now it seems fine. So this is my next slide about us and developers. Great, thank you. So let me continue. So we have been working together with developers. I'm the head of the unit that is working with commercial developers, and we have been working with very different developers. It's great to collaborate with them, and we, of course, are becoming more popular through the word of mouth. So we usually meet with developers at the beginning, at the stage of concept approval. Here you can see some of our projects. Very subtle colors, pastel colors. So the people collect some references for our projects, and some of them have been collected by us. They are quite stylish, and we sometimes focus on specific details. And we realize that there is a very high demand for similar interiors that won't be too bright, that will have some subtle colors. So I would like to tell us about our work that we have been doing, about our approaches that we use. And then I'd love to share some of the solutions that we have developed with regard to the common space. Of course, the identity is extremely important, so the individuality is crucial because people want to emphasize their individual looks, their individuality. And this is one of the concepts that one of our designers developed, the spirit of autumn New York. This is a residential complex located in Moscow. Some visual images that inspired us. We wanted to recreate the atmosphere of autumn New York so that every citizen could feel themselves as part of that megalopolis. We used some street art, some towers, some iconic buildings that could be found in New York. And here you can see some elements that we embedded in our interior design, some visual images that we applied, that we took from the city environment and embedded it into the interior. We used some wooden structures, some cobbled street feeling, and the leaves, the way they crunch under the feet if you walk in New York in autumn. So this is the result that we achieved. by rethinking the modern design and integrating them, referring to the history of the city. The second concept that I wanted to share with you is the secret garden. We were inspired by filmmaking style. So we wanted to create a luxury style place outside of noisy Moscow. So the Mysterious Garden film became the source of inspiration for us. We referred to the aesthetics of this mysterious garden, and we try to recreate this atmosphere in the residential complex. Here you can see some visual images, some motifs that inspired us while we were working on this project. The sun that was coming through the branches of the trees, the darkness and light highlights. Here you can see some materials that we used, quite solid motifs, and they were interwoven into our color palette. We used some woven structures. We used some other references from real garden pathways. So first I showed you some references, some collages, and then here you can see the final view, the way our project looked like when we completed it. Then the third concept that we developed was called the house by the water. So we wanted to explore the culture and borrowed some ideas from this style. And it's related to water. We wanted to create a space that would give you a feeling of some ocean in front of you. And just like the previous colleague, the previous speaker was saying that some customers want to have this hotel or resort feeling, and we had some similar references. So we were looking for some visual images, this very fluid forms, moderate colors, the colors of European resorts. And the atmosphere of those resorts was something that we wanted to recreate in this project. And it's true that some target audience want to emphasize their individuality. They wanted to emphasize their uniqueness. So sometimes they want to focus on their status, to emphasize their own vision and values, and this is what we had to create. So we had to show how special they are. This was the key element of this space. And in my second part of the presentation, I wanted to focus on some trends that we observe at the moment all over the world, and we wanted to show some of the solutions that we developed. So the first solution that I would like to share is this uniqueness. So instead of everything for everyone, we shifting towards uniqueness, towards individuality. This is an Ekman hotel. We can see very delicate architecture, the long process of restoration, And this building wasn't used for quite a long time. And after all the renovation works, it looked very special. Another example is taken from Montreal, from Canada, again reflecting the request from the designers. The artists worked a lot to create special objects that would make this space unique. Some lights, some lamps, the carpet on the left became a decorative element in the space. And again, we followed the requirements of the customer because they wanted to create a special place for culinary design, because this is a special way that brings people to the restaurant. And we had to emphasize the gastronomical satisfaction, the gastro spirit of this space. The next trend, the next solution that we offer is the art of interior design. So this interior is highly artistic. For example, this gallery is in Beijing, in China. I think that it really brings a lot of emotions for people once they come to this space. So this is again a very relevant trend that can be reflected in our design projects. And of course, they're very important to be integrated. Here is a showroom in Copenhagen, in Denmark, with quite many works of art presented here on display. And one of the final solutions that we can outline is a very complex kind of design. Lots of decorative elements, complex images that are brought together. And once you get to this space, you feel like staying here as long as possible. This is a Mason Hall in the United States, in San Francisco. It doesn't occupy a very big space that we are used to see. So actually you feel as if you were somewhere in the cellars, and then this arch-like vaults that create very good space above your head, so you feel lots of space there, even though the space itself is not that big. And this is one of my favorite slides from Madrid, from Spain. So you can see colorful marble and windows that display a very unusual style. You know, you can't really find a name for this style because it is so diverse. It's not homogeneous at all. At first, this was created as a shoe shop, but then it wasn't used at all. And now I know that this was turned into a gallery, and it has been opened recently.
You feel as if you are located in a different epoch. Maybe it's because of this looks like a maze or like a cave, something like that. There are some highlights, and there is this feeling of attraction, even though there are no art pieces. But still, interior is the thing that attracts the viewer, and you start reflecting on how you feel when you are inside. And also wanted to say that when you start a new project or about an idea of a project, you definitely need to add some main message Because design, this is something related to looking for the idea, the message, for using interesting materials that would be used. So I mentioned this project, how I will work with the project, and I explained that looking for the main idea, it takes time. Sometimes they ask, why can't you make it just days faster? No, it takes time. This is a creative approach. We first find the balance between business approach and creative approach. And for us, creative part is more important, and business is the second element for us. So that's the final idea I wanted to share. You see my contacts here. If you have questions, you can easily approach me. I will be happy to answer. I'm ready to talk to you about some modern residential buildings and about working with us as well. Thank you very much.
На самом деле сразу вообще, несколько вопросов.
I have several questions to you.
Так вот примерно по вашему ощущению, когда возник
As you, when do you think developers got this need? This is a question actually to Asya and to Oleg as well. So how you started working with developers? Did they want their projects to be different, but they couldn't clearly explain what they need? Was there a period of searching for ideas? Because, yeah, I know in Russia they were thinking work with foreign architects or Russian architects. Many developers, they didn't understand what they really need. So how much were you involved in this process of, I would say, creating the new style of residential buildings? And I think in Russia, in major cities, they are very different from what existed before and from, of course, different from what's created in different countries. Oleg and Asya, question to you. Yes, you're absolutely right. When you mentioned that it's work on both sides. Developers are searching for something and design studios searching for an answer. We were working jointly and we were formulating the message together. Some developers have more precise requests. Maybe when they get a more precise request from the customer, and this affects the end result. Yeah, I also agree. There is no unified system. All developers are different. All of them have different business processes. Their teams are structured differently. With some developers, at the very beginning, they give you very clear references. We like this, we don't like this. These colors are not these colors. Super clear. Some developers, they want us to propose such references. Some developers, they don't know what they need at all. But the general trend is the following. Level of professionalism is growing. And I can see it with my own eyes. Month on month, it's growing. And what are the limitations to...
It's very famous in Dubai. We say developers think about their pockets. Architect thinks about the project.
This is a very correct comment. Yes, there was some period when technical briefs were super precise. Some buildings have lots of floors. That's one type of budget. And if you're working only with the entrance groups, that's a different type of budgets. So how you're adapting? Is the style of the studio changing? Oh, we try to adapt when there is urgent request from a customer. We have several designers with different styles, and we can work with different people inside our team. Some customers, they say, we want this beautiful designer idea to be implemented. It's related to exteriors, for example, something related to a certain historical period, or something related to the land plot in a city. Maybe there is some story which should be reflected. And that's how we base our project on it. For us, as creators, it may sound strange, but the more limitations we have, the better. So if there are some entry points, that helps. So we need some kind of reference points, and that's how we can develop the idea further. So these reference points could be the architecture itself, it can be the location, the space, that can be the area that surrounds the venue. Maybe naming, we also connected, several towers, for example. How will they be called? Usually, by the time we start working, there are no names for different complexes. There are some exceptions, but they're rare. And this helps us to create, it helps our creative process. In my company, we have 100 people, but there are only 2 people who are creating, who are generating ideas. But still, all projects are different. Even with the same developers, you can work differently just because there are lots of reference points or pegs that we use. Hi, I have a question to you. How is the general style in Dubai for public spaces is changing? Because for a long time, situation was quite stable. It was a fix of classical style and show off, that I would say. Are there global trends affecting Dubai work of other designers? Does it affect designers' needs and your own work?
Yes, for public spaces right now, it's changed completely. For the past year, we had renovations for almost 80% of, let's say, hospitality and commercial projects. Now, for the restaurants and coffee shops, they are going through the Wabi Sabi design, which is very famous now and popular in Dubai, due the relation between the Emirates and Japan. So lots of UAE delegations are visiting Japan, and they are coming back really influenced by the Japanese design, and which was really implemented in the commercial projects such as restaurants, let's say services like spas and salons. In terms of the hospitalities, now if you see almost all the projects in, let's say, the hotels, for example, recently we had the Address project with hotels, which are very famous in Dubai. They changed their branding name from Address to a different Kempinski, let's say, and so that they also changed the design, which was a little bit, as you mentioned, a classical, let's say a show-off, to more modern and contemporary project. So I think now, in my opinion, for the coming let's say 20 years or 30 upcoming years, the designs are going to always maintain as modern, since architecture is always connected in parallel with the technology. and especially now with the AI and the new technology, which we can see recently for the past 2 years. So this affects architecture a lot. I can see there is a famous designer. She is an Arab architect. Her name is Zaha Hadid. She passed away. However, due to now the changes of the AI and the technology that we have in Dubai, her office are working a lot for, let's say, governmental entities, high-rise buildings, because her style, which is very futuristic, is, you know, is booming now in the GCC countries.
И, наверное, второй вопрос, который заинтересует и наших коллег, и девелоперов, и архитекторов.
Another question related to more Russian architects. What's the difference between the request from people in Dubai as compared to requests of the international community? There are lots of people who come from other countries to Dubai. Are people really ready to change interiors if they come to another country? It's the second part of my question. So people who come to live on contract, for example, for longer contracts also, to what extent are they ready to do something with the style of their homes? Are they ready to commit to it, to invest? So first question, first part of the question, what's the difference between the style in community, international community, between the style, what locals like?
Honestly, see, when I visited Moscow and I visited some of my Russian friends, and now here in Kazakhstan, I mean in Kazan and Kazakhstan as well, in Astana. So I was surprised because honestly, Russians, when they come to Dubai, they started to buy 2 series, as I mentioned, villas in Palm area. They like the sea, or JBR area, or Dubai Pearl Island. So, and then when I came here, that they are living in a penthouse and high-rise buildings. So the changes that I have seen, as I mentioned to my colleague, the great architect, Mr. Oleg, the design, and then the female architect also with us on Zoom, the Russians, they like minimalist. They like light colors, but rich materials. So we name them in our office, or we call them simple but unique. What's important for them is that you can have, like, let's say, an outstanding painting or a sculptural that gives a soul to the area. But most importantly for them, the whole atmosphere is calm, soothing, relaxing. Now, the difference between the nationals, the Emiratis, they are 2 kinds, who are liking the old palaces, or let's say, now it's a trend, they call it old money homes, which they like the marble, flooring, water jet, lots of bright colors. And that I feel now the Russians or Westerns, they don't like this design anymore, where other part, they started to get influenced by the international citizens who are bringing or requesting new styles of designs.
Ну что, друзья, если у вас есть какие-то дополнительные вопросы, пожалуйста.
Dear friends, if you have additional questions, you are welcome. Actually, the next session related to technology is started here in the next hall, which is called Stone Hall. I'd like to thank all the speakers for the time they've spent. And we are still here. You can follow us to the next session.